Time to talk a little Friday Saratoga. We'll look at July the 19th with some best bets for Friday, July the 19th. Remember, folks, anytime you're playing the races, you want to head on over to drf.com. Shop.drf.com will take you to the Saratoga handicapping store where you can get past performances, DRF picks, clocker reports for every racing day. That's at Del Mar and at Saratoga. And those are great because they'll help you with the maiden special weight races, a lot of first-time starters, horses coming off long layoffs, everything you need to succeed at Saratoga and at Del Mar. So if you're watching this on YouTube, if you can do me a favor, if you subscribe to the channel, that will really help us. We'll be posting a lot of our videos over here now. We're unable to post as many of them on social media, on Twitter now. So we think we'll try to link everything here over on YouTube. If you can like the video, if you subscribe it'll be passed around and shared around a little bit more, and more people will see it, more eyeballs on it. It'll help us out quite a bit. Let's get you into a few plays for Saratoga. There's 4 horses I want to look at throughout the card for Saratoga. If you need any help with Saturday, have some analysis with the late pick 5 for Saratoga with Barry Spears. Also have analysis of the late pick 5 sequence at Del Mar with Barry Spears for Saturday. So plenty of analysis out there to help you out right here on this YouTube channel. If you need some more, you can check out the DRF YouTube channel. Dan Illman does a fantastic job. Lots of previews over there. I pop up on some of those. Ashley Mayu, you have Mike Beer, David Aragona, really good crew on DRF TV that does a great job helping you out there. Let's turn to the 5th race on Friday. This was a mile and a 16th on the turf course. These are the high-level maiden claimers. I'm going to go to the number 8, Our Finest Hour. Sort of go through this filly's overall form. Her debut race at Laurel, she's 4th. She's beaten just a length and 3/4. And she ends up with a fine start in that debut race, and she's outrun. She's like 15 lengths out of it at one point. She starts to move in the outside, and it's got a lot of bumping back and forth with the eventual winner of the race that day, Parrish Lane. It was a pretty good effort. She was only beaten a length and 3/4, and she closed a ton. That was back in October of last year. Off for a few months, shows back up in January at Gulfstream Park, finishes 5th in a race behind Joyful Lass. So that January 21st race, she was inside, she was traveling well. She was 8th early on, and then she moves up. She's only about 3 lengths off. She just has nowhere to go. She gets shuffled back. She's blocked. She has to alter course. She gets some room in the inside, but it's just too late that day. It's much better than it looks on paper, that 5th place finish beating 4 lengths. Really good effort, that just nowhere to go. Then March the 15th comes back. Good start. This is at Tampa. 6th or so early on, about 3 lengths off, saving ground. Moves up to 2 lengths off, traveling really well, looking for room. Splits horses, goes down towards the inside. It's a pretty good 3rd. Really no knocks on that effort. And those are all against maiden special weights. Then that last race on May the 18th, just didn't get involved. Just never got into it. It just put a line right through that. 3rd place finisher came back out to win a maiden special weight. And what I like is not long after the race on May the 18th, they were back working already. Just a couple weeks later. So to me, it was just one of those races where it didn't get the race shape, got caught behind in a slow pace early on, just put a line right through it. Now you get the class drop and the blinkers, 2nd start in the maker barn, and you get an aggressive rider aboard who's been struggling a little bit early on. So hopefully with the blinkers on, they can just try to get this horse more forwardly placed in here. I think Our Finest Hour fits very well. 6-1 on the morning line. If we can get anything 4 and above, I think that's fair value in race number 5 on Friday. Moving along, race number 6. 5.5 furlongs on the dirt. These are 2-year-old New York breds. Went to the outside. Horse maybe to include in some of your exotics is the 10 Rocked Out. Just a couple quick notes looking at the pedigree. This horse's dam was precocious and was pretty quick. She won her first 3 starts, including a New York bred stakes race. All those were at Aqueduct. And while this is not a barn that this is a first full for this Stones in the Road. While this isn't a barn that wins a ton with first-time starters, when you dive into it, they're generally winning with horses that are right around this price. So over the last few years, 8%. Look at the winners. 7-2. And then you see horses that are like in this range, 8-1, 8-1, 8-1. And I think another that was like in double digits at 11-1. So we're getting horses just like this one who may look okay on paper, but you're just not going to be coming out of a barn that wins a ton first time out. So won't necessarily be biggest price in the world. So that's a look at maybe a horse to include in race number 6 at Saratoga. A couple more I wanted to mention on the Friday card. Let's go to race number 8. It's a first level allowance. And I thought the one do-gooder was a horse we could look at. Feel like this filly's overall form makes a lot of sense. Her debut race, she's a good runner-up. Finishes second down at Gulfstream Park. Comes back and wins in her second start. Then they try Stakes Company. Her third start, she's in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. She's in there with Power Squeeze, Ways and Means, Into Champagne, and Gun Song. Fourth place finisher Gun Song came back to win the Black Eyed Susan in her next start, earning an 88 buyer speed figure. Into Champagne goes into the Kentucky Oaks, along with Ways and Means and Power Squeeze. We actually see her face Ways and Means again in this allowance race when Ways and Means earns a 104 buyer speed figure and wins by 8 1/4. So you look at her last 3 races in a row and the horses that she's faced. Ways and Means, Power Squeeze, Ways and Means, Into Champagne, and then in the 8 Bells, it's a sloppy track. And she ends up facing a couple nice horses in there. My Main Squeeze is a nice one, who was just coming off of an unprepared start in the fantasy. And then she wins the 8 Bells, and then she tries a tough group in the Acorn with Torpedo Anna there. Impel was your runner-up in that one. Came back and was third in the Indiana Oaks. That's a nice filly. So from a price standpoint, I feel like if you can get 5-1 plus, that's probably fair on do-gooder in here. Cutting back to 6, she won't be as close early, I don't think. I'm hoping that she can just sit back a little bit more, a couple lengths off, and hopefully the rail won't hurt her if they're trying to get positioning early and then you get shuffled back. Maybe she can just take back a little bit. She has enough speed to maybe use some of that if they need to. But I'm envisioning more of a trip where she's sitting a few lengths off and she's got a little more punch cutting back in here. Do-gooder, 8-1 on the morning line. Sam's Treasure will take some money in here. Roswell will be super logical, as will Princess Madison to the outside. Maybe we can get some value with Do-gooder on the cutback. One more to mention, and it is in race number 9. We'll go to the number 9 in here. This is Epic Miss Justice, who's 12-1 on the morning line. Filly, who's going to be coming into the Mott Barn for the second time. So she debuts back in September of 2022, and she's facing maiden specials. She actually is just way out of the race early on, and she runs pretty well that day to finish 4th in what was a good race. The winner, Tax Implications, is actually a graded stakes winner who just recently won the Eatontown. The runner-up that day, Liguria, is actually a graded stakes winner, won the Jimmy Durante, and a multiple stakes winner. So she ends up finishing 4th, and the top 2 finishers are both graded stakes winners. And then she's off from September to April. She shows up in April at Gulfstream, And she's a pretty good third behind Ocean Club. Ocean Club comes out of that race and goes on and wins a stakes race. And Ocean Club is a multiple stakes winner and actually graded stakes placed on the grass. And keep in mind, that's the first start for Epic Miss Justice since September. So she probably needs the race. She's making her first start for a new barn. She's in the Kelly Breen barn at that time. And she's a good third that day. Then she takes a step forward on May the 29th at Monmouth Park. She finishes second, steps forward on the Beyer Speed figure. She gets on the grass there. And then in her third start off the bench, she actually wins at Saratoga over this turf course, going a mile and a 16th. Following that, she's off for almost a year. Shows back up on June the 29th, and that's a perfect prep race just to shake off some of the rust. It's going 6 furlongs. There's really no intent in winning that race. The point there is just to get a little fitness under her so then she can stretch out here and be ready. Now you go second start back after 11 and a half months off. Just all makes sense for a horse who broke the maiden over this turf course last year going this trip. Now can she take that step forward? Because she just had some gaps in her career. She definitely shown some ability. I think she's a fair price. If we can get anything above 6, I really want about 8 to dive in on Epic Miss Justice. So a couple plays for you, maybe a few horses to include in some of your exotics on Friday at Saratoga. Best of luck. Remember to visit the Saratoga Handicapping Store at shop.drf.com. If you're listening on the podcast, thanks so much. And remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you can subscribe to the channel, throw up that like on there. That'll help this thing get shared all around. And we'll have more videos for you coming up all throughout the summer. Del Mar, Saratoga, all the big races right here on That's What G Said podcast. Good luck this weekend playing the races. Hopefully we can make a little money on Friday for a very big Saturday coming up all around the country.